Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jonathan Krebs. I've been asked to chair the discussion tonight between these two formidable debating teams, although we're not allowed to call it a debate. As I left Napier tonight, it was raining, and the rain got heavier and heavier until I approached Hastings. I wondered if that was something of an omen, all this beautiful, pure, unfluoridated water falling from the sky. But I don't believe in superstition such as that, so I decided it was simply the naturally better climate in Hastings. The purpose of this evening is informative, not combative. It is a spectator sport tonight, not a blood sport. I am impartial, and that's, I suppose, why I was asked to chair this occasion. I was born and raised in Hastings. I considered Hastings my hometown really until I was about 25. My dad was town clerk for a period of time in Hawke's Bay, although for the last 25 years I have called my home Napier for most of the time. So I have split allegiances. Napier water is not fluoridated. That's, I'm told, because of technical reasons and the difficulties they will have with our filtration system in fluoridating the water in Napier. I don't know. But as a matter of fact, Napier water is not fluoridated. And in order to demonstrate my total impartiality, I have here a litre of Napier unfluoridated water, which I'm going to pour half a glass of, and Hastings fluoridated water, because I don't want it to be said that I'm in any way partial as your chairman. Now, the way in which tonight will work is the team to my right, which is the anti-fluoride lobby, if I could call them that. Fluoride-free Hastings is their official name. They will speak first. One of their speakers will speak first, Dr. Jukes, followed by a speaker from the District Health Board. Then another speaker from Fluoride-free Hastings, and then another turn from the District Health Board. The way we've organised it is each team will have a total of 30 minutes to present their case to you, within which there, in addition to 5 minutes each to answer any questions there might be from the floor to each speaker. Right, then the teams can decide how they wish to allocate their combined 30 minutes. We don't mind if one speaker speaks for 2 minutes and the other one for 28. We don't care. But I'm going to be rigorous in the timing because I think it's fair that each side has the same amount of time to address you, or to at least have the option of using a full 30 minutes. At the conclusion, there will be a period of time for questions from the floor. We'd like to conclude by 8:30, 20 to 9 maybe, but we'll be a little bit flexible about that if there are questions that need answering. And we have one or two local experts who will be on hand to answer any tricky questions about the technology or otherwise. So remember, tonight is informative, not combative. It's a spectator sport, not a blood sport. And now, first off, I would like to introduce Dr. Jukes. Dr. Jukes is the first speaker for Fluoride-free Hastings. He has been a dentist in Waipukurau for 31 years. He is a member of the New Zealand Dental Association. After graduating at the Otago Dental School, he was awarded the Royal Society Periodontology Prize in 1973 and a postgraduate scholarship in 1974. And as well as working in New Zealand, he's had experience working in Australia and in England. Would you welcome, please, Dr. John Jukes.
Good evening, everybody. As you have just been informed, I am John Jukes. I'm a practicing dentist in Waipukurau. The election or appointment to a council or a health board does not make one an expert. Studying a topic using all sources of information over an extended period of time makes one an expert. As an undergraduate, you learn to repeat what you are told. Continued repetition of such after graduation makes such a statement dogma. Repeating that dogma publicly makes one an advocate, not an expert. Lots of repetition does not make it true. To appreciate the difference is important. As a science undergraduate, one studies general science. By the time one graduates with a bachelor's degree, one has narrowed that down to one major or subject. As a postgraduate student, one restudies the subject and writes a thesis which is not required to be original, but is narrowing further this focus. To obtain a PhD, the student has to narrow his field considerably. This creates a study on one very fine point of one subject. This does not make this student, this graduate, this PhD doctor, an expert on anything but his refined, narrow subject. The student may need to be intelligent, but intelligence does not confer wisdom. To maintain a position as an advisor to a political party, one needs to be aligned with that party's policy. This does not make one an expert on every subject. Regardless from which side of the argument one is coming from, everyone is wanting to see the children, the adolescents, the adults tooth decay free. To claim that those who oppose fluoridating a water supply don't care is mischievous at least and fear-mongering at worst. To put effort and expense into a proven, futile exercise is foolish. To say the science is settled is ridiculous. There is well-established science to show fluoridating a water supply fails to achieve its goal. I was originally giving fluoride tablets to my children. After arriving in Waipukuro to live and practice, I observed fluorosis in the children's teeth. I notified the area dental officer. His response was to tell me to keep it quiet. A nod is as good as a wink to a blind horse, was quoted. I did stay quiet on the subject, but this stimulated me to study fluoridation of water supplies. This study started 31 years ago. The conclusions I came to are: 1. It doesn't work. The Twin Cities study between Napier and Hastings, which started in 1954, proved this. Hastings' water was fluoridated, Napier's water was not. Yet this study proved that, if anything, Napier's tooth decay was less than Hastings, despite no fluoride being in the water supply. If a council ceases to add fluoride to a water supply, the tooth decay rate does not go up as a result. Medicating a public water supply with fluoride is neither ethical nor pharmacologically sound. At 1 part per million, for example, just to keep the math simple, a person who drinks 1 litre of water gets 1 milligram. A person who drinks 2 litres of water gets 2 milligrams. When you shower in it, you get more. When you bathe in it, you get more still. And when you water your vegetable garden, your vegetables absorb the fluoride. It is a pharmacological nonsense. To say that it is a safe dose in the water supply is rubbish. It is simply a concentration. The dose is what you consume. The mix that is added to the water supply contains not just fluoride, but a spectrum of heavy metals, including lead, arsenic, cadmium, mercury, cyanide, and more. Realising this, and that 90% goes down the drain and into the local river, this practice is environmental vandalism. Purify the water supply, don't add toxins to it. Tooth decay is caused by a lack of fluoride. Correction, tooth decay is not caused by a lack of fluoride, but an overconsumption of sugar and refined carbohydrates. Fluoride is not a nutrient. Gross decay is seen in any individual where the diet is crook, whether the area is fluoridated or not. The reduction of tooth decay requires a reduction in the consumption of sugar. This could be achieved with an approach much like that which has been done with tobacco. That is, reduce the availability, reduce the advertising, increase the cost. One can consider application of topical fluoride, but there is no advantage gained by swallowing it. Thank you.
And now, as indicated at the outset, there's the opportunity for anybody to ask Dr. Jukes any questions they'd like to on the topic of fluoridation, please. Do you have any questions? please.
Dr. Dukes, in your investigation within New Zealand and also possibly overseas, are there any towns, communities or councils where you have found there is no fluoride and the dental health has improved, or towns and councils where they've removed fluoride and it's still improved?
Timaru removed the fluoride in 1984, there has not been an increase in tooth decay. Tauranga removed fluoride in about the 1990s, there has not been an increase in tooth decay. Ontario, Quebec, Ontario is fluoridated, there's less decay than non-fluoridated Quebec. 95% of the world's countries do not fluoridate their water. There's more and more that were fluoridating that have stopped doing it. In recent times, Cuba has stopped, Finland has stopped, East Germany, Canada, and no increase in caries.
Very nice. There's a question at the back.
Dr. Dukes, I wanted to ask if you see people in your practice that are in their 50s and 60s that have fluorosis, thinking that these people have been fluoridated for a number of years now, for probably 60 years.
The fluorosis that I've seen in my practice, I believe, has been caused by the developing dentition. A lot of this case would have been children that have swallowed high dosage fluoridated toothpaste, which only came on stream, somebody in the audience here probably will be able to tell me, 75, something like that. In my adult patients, which are some of them as old as me and still alive, I'm not observing, I don't think I have observed fluorosis in patients of that vintage.
Any other questions? Thank you. Over.
Dr. Dukes, you're a member of the New Zealand Dental Association. Aren't they in favour of fluoridation? And if so, are they all wrong?
If you want to take the percentage, they say the world, 95% of the world's countries are not fluoridating. We seem to be dragging the chain on this one. It's interesting as to ask you, spend a lot of time trying to answer the question why. The push came out of America. It seems to be that those that follow America closely follow this idea. So you've got the states, by America I mean USA. So you've got the USA doing quite a bit of it. Mind you, there's a list of states now stopping that in the USA. You've got Australia doing it, New Zealand. Okay, it seems that those that like to follow American countries with an army are the ones that like to fluoridate. Or those that speak English are the ones that like to fluoridate.
Thank you. One question here.
Yes, Dr. Hughes. So can I ask you, what do you think the motivation then is of people who advise the World Health Organization who do favour fluoridation, people who advise and work in the CDC in the United States where they do have fluoridation, 60% of the population? What was their motivation? Are they liars? Are they cheats? Are they varmints? Are they crooks? What's wrong?
First level, motivation is the same as I said, we all want to reduce the tooth decay. The motivation comes from the fact that they were sold an idea that it was a good idea, okay, that came out of corporate science. Once you start to read the history of how that came about, you then start to realise that that was BS, bad science, shall we say.
All right, thank you. There was another question there, and one there. We'll take a question over here first, please.
You mentioned that carbohydrate and sugar reduction in the diet was your answer to fluoridation. In today's society, we've got so much obesity. Don't you think that's a bit naive and unrealistic? Would you expect the average person to concentrate on that at the expense of fluoridation?
I think that your question away was sort of twofold and loaded at the end. I do feel that if we concentrate on the refined carbohydrate, we will not only assault the dental decay problem, but we will assault the obesity and the type 2 diabetes problem as well. Whether that adequately answers your question, I'm not sure.
Thank you. One last question for this slot, please, and we'll reserve other questions for the end, please. So just,
Dr. Dukes, the World Health Organization has published figures which show that tooth decay is gradually decreasing right across the globe. Have you any explanation for that?
It seems that that is the case. To speak just locally, first of all, because that is my greatest experience.